What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles, and you're listening to Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. Let's get straight into it. I am glad to be back. Philly Phrenzy, episode 4, Eagles Talk. You got me. Let's get straight into it. The first topic, it really broke the whole football world. Big Dom. Apparently, according to Derek Gunn in a report, Big Dom controls Nick Sirianni's emotions on the sideline. He prevents arguments with players, cools down his temperament, and, Big Dom is like the emotional support for the head coach. Now, this report is very, very alarming. Very alarming. Because what is Nick Sirianni supposed to do? What have they sold us? He's a leader of men. He's a game manager. In terms of he manages a whole game. He's not on the offense. He's not on the defense. But he manages the game. Okay. So when you hear something like this out, it's like, all right, you don't call defense. You don't call offense. And now people are, because look, somebody like Derek Gunn, for y'all that don't know media, when they say sources, it's somebody very, very close to the situation. So somebody in the Eagles locker room, and this is going to go into another point in this episode, but somebody in the Eagles locker room had that to say about Nick Sirianni and Big Dom. Derek Gunn, I trust his work. I trust his integrity as a journalist that he's not making it up. Somebody told this to him. Now, it can be up for debate on if the person who told him this information is telling the truth. But Derek Gunn got the information from somebody in-house. So when you go back to Nick Sirianni, it's like you don't call it defense. You don't call it an offense. And now people in the building are trying to undermine your leadership, who you are as a head coach. That is concerning. I'm not as concerned about whether the report is true. I'm concerned the fact that this even got put out. Because somebody inside the locker room, whether it's a player, whether it's a coach, you saw all them coaches, or you heard about all them coaches that when Brian Johnson got fired, they were looking at Nick Sirianni with the side eye like it could be players, it could be coaches, but somebody on the inside is talking and doesn't believe in Nick Sirianni. And then when you have a coaching staff, literally the defense, nobody on the defense are Nick Sirianni's guys. They're all Vic Fangio's guys. 100% fact. On the offense, the guys on the offense, outside of Stout, and Stout was going to be on the team regardless if Nick Sirianni was here or not. But the guys on the offense, whether it's Kellen Moore, his new QB coach, who literally worked with Kellen Moore in Los Angeles with the Chargers, and, they're tight, they're buddies. That's not picked by Nick Sirianni. He has no power in the organization. So, I get tired when people say, Dan Campbell, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, they're all managers of the game. They don't do anything specific on defense or offense, but it's they manage the game. Here's the thing, though. They have power in the organization. Nick Sirianni does not. He doesn't. So my issue with the Eagles, here's my thing, bro. It makes no sense to bring back Nick Sirianni as your head coach when you don't really believe in the guy, when you stripped away his power. It doesn't make any sense. That's like your girlfriend cheats on you and you're still holding it against her, but you still want to be with her. It's like either you let it go and you turn a new leaf and start completely over, or you go ahead and find somebody new. But you can't take somebody back and then still hold their past, offenses, their past actions against them. It's just going to head towards failure. It's going to head towards, just stuff not working out. So Lurie, I think maybe did not want to have it on him that he fired a head coach that just got the Super Bowl, but you clearly don't believe in the guy. So all it's going to take is, maybe another skid next season, or the Eagles not playing well to start, and Nick Sirianni's out. He's out. I do believe, and I don't care. This is my fact. This is going to go into my next point, which is about A.J. Brown. And, he had a tweet that was like, the Philly media is so lame. They just make up stuff. The fans believe it. Look, A.J. Brown means well. He has the perspective of a player. He has a perspective of being a player, being in the locker room, all that. And I do believe that there's some reports like the one on Jalen Hurts about him, being stoic and having to show more leadership and all that. I feel like some of that stuff just simply isn't true. I heard a report that Jalen Hurts was pulled in direction after direction. He was pulled in, all these directions off the field all off season long. He was doing stuff with Jordan Brand throughout the whole entire season. That didn't stop him from being 10-1 and being an MVP candidate. So now you're saying after the collapse at the end, now he just can't handle all the endorsements and all the responsibilities he has with, his new stats in the NFL. I'm not buying that. But I will always, trust me when I say this, I will always give the benefit of the doubt to a player instead of a head coach. 100%. 100%. Because I'm going to blame the head coach before I blame the player. Unless it's super egregious, but I'm going to blame the head coach, or I'm not going to really give the head coach the benefit of the doubt. I'm just not. So with Nick Sirianni, it's I don't want to give you the benefit of the doubt. You haven't earned that. You have not earned that. You have not earned that. So I see with A.J. Brown, he's trying to stick up for Nick. I get it. But, I just don't believe. I'm interested to see what he has to say. I believe he wants to, go on WIP and, talk just what his feelings are. But, it's not that deep. It's just bro, your head coach ain't that guy. I feel like y'all know it deep inside, but you don't want to seem like an asshole and, try to out him. And look, here's something that I love about the Eagles. You can say whatever you want about the Eagles or whatever you don't like them. One thing you can say is that they've thrown their coach publicly under the bus. What happened after the Super Bowl? The 49ers are saying, we were never taught the overtime rules. You're an NFL player. What are you talking about? So then you throw your head coach under the bus, right? Versus you have the Eagles. They had a historic collapse. But what do they say? This is on the players. DeAndre Swift said it. A.J. Brown said it. Jason Kelsey said it. Fletcher Cox said it. Every great player on that team took the blame for themselves. You got Nick Bosa saying, we weren't prepared. Y'all were prepared. You just ain't show up. It's a difference. So I give the Eagles players their respect for sticking up for Nick Sirianni. And if they have a problem, they're going to say it, privately, and that's when you get the guys like a Derek Gunn that's saying, according to his sources, that might be a player or it could be a coach, but they're not going to publicly say stuff to throw their coach under the bus or say stuff, that's really going to undermine who their coach is. Two different organizations, two different ways of dealing with things like this. That's one positive thing I will say about this Eagles team and the players that continue to stick up for their coach. One more thing, about Eagles stuff, man. Haasan Reddick. So, I'll be honest, I love Haasan Reddick. He's a dog. 27 sacks over 2 seasons. He's been dominant. He's been a top 5 edge rusher in the past 2 years, I believe. But let's keep it a stack. If Haasan Reddick is your number 1 edge rusher, there might be a cap on how great your team can be. Think about it in basketball. If Trae Young is your number 1 option, that's not going to be a championship winning team. Now, if Trae Young is your number 2 option, you're going to win a championship. If you have somebody on your team that is better than Trae Young, you're going to win a championship. It's a different sport, but I feel the same way about Haasan Reddick in the NFL. If Haasan Reddick is your number 2, oh my gosh. You saw that last year when Javon Hargrave was, that beast in the middle, and that freed up space for Haasan Reddick to go crazy on the edge. So I just think that Haasan Reddick wants to be paid, and he should want to because he has the production to show for it, but he wants to be paid like a 1, like a Nick Bosa, like a, TJ Watt, like a Micah Parsons, or, these guys, or Myles Garrett. I don't think Micah Parsons got paid yet, but like a Myles Garrett, all these guys, he wants to get paid like a number 1. But if the Eagles pay Haasan Reddick that number 1 money, that puts a cap into, who else you can sign on your defense. And the Eagles drafted all these young players for the trenches. Howie Roseman drafts Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. You do this so that you can allow a guy like Haasan Reddick to potentially walk if he wants, or if he gets, a huge contract. Because, all right, I'm good with letting go of Haasan because I got some young guys that's ready to take the torch. So am I happy about Haasan Reddick potentially leaving for a bigger payday? I'm not happy about it, but I understand. And it's going to be on Howie's decisions to draft Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and really the development, of these young players to bear fruit of, having a great defense past the Haasan Reddick era. This is literally why you draft Nolan Smith. You draft Nolan Smith knowing that Haasan Reddick is going to want a big payday, and you don't want to pay him that. But if Nolan Smith can do 80% of what, Haasan Reddick did, and he's younger, and he's on a rookie deal, I'm taking that 100% all the time. I'm just doing it. Now, obviously, the best case scenario is that we get Haasan Reddick on a team-friendly deal. But if he wants that 25 mil a year, we're not doing that. We're just not doing that. We're just not doing that. We're just simply not doing that. But it's no beef with Haasan. I think that he's a fantastic player, but In the NFL, it is levels to stuff. There are great players. There are good players. There are very good players. I believe that Haasan Reddick is a very good player. Do I think that he's great in terms of being that number one guy on your defensive line that's really getting paid like that? I don't believe that. Because it's a little bit different when instead of, just going one-on-one, now you in double cover. Now it's two guys on you. That's what Aaron Donald have to deal with every day, every Sunday. That's what Myles Garrett had to deal with. T.J. Watt. That's the difference. That's the difference between greatness and, somebody that's just like good for a season, good for 2 seasons or whatever, that like what they're going to do. You bring all your best guys on them and they still eat. And they still eat. And they still eat. But what we got to do? We have to get a linebacker, a stud linebacker. I believe that Nakobe Dean, he will be healthy, but you definitely need a stud at linebacker. You need a stud at linebacker, and you need to bolster up this secondary. You could potentially get an Andrew Van Ginkel as your linebacker, pair up with Nakobe, and then invest in the secondary in the draft. But there's no point of paying an edge rusher top dollar when you literally drafted an edge rusher in the first round last year. It doesn't make sense. Y'all need to really focus on your player development system, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm talking straight to you. And allow y'all young guys to blossom into why you drafted them, to blossom into what you believe they could do when you drafted them. So again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz, man. And I really, really appreciate all the love, all the support. I'm working at Fox right now, doing some good work. And I just really, really appreciate my Real Talk squad for always staying with me, always keeping it real. Be sure to like. When you comment what you believe the Eagles should do with Haasan Reddick. Comment if you believe the reports on Nick Sirianni. I would love to hear what you guys say, and I'm going to reply, and we're going to engage in dialogue about each of these subjects. Again, I love y'all. Peace.